Hello students, I am Dr. Sangeeta Singh from JDB Government Girls College Kota. I am going to teach you General English for BSc Part 1. Hello students, once again I am here with the textbook. In today's video, we are going to study an essay, A Vision for 2020, written by APJ Abdul Kalam. Please open your books or the PDF I had shared with you. We will start from the first page of our textbook. This is an introduction of the author. I will read it out for your convenience and then brief it to you. This is the first paragraph. Abul Pakir Jainuddin Abdul Kalam was born on 15 October 1931 into a poor family in Rameswaram, Tamil Nadu. His father was a boat owner, and from a very early age, Kalam had to supplement the family income by distributing newspapers. He studied physics and then aerospace engineering. Since then, he had an unparalleled career as a defense scientist. He is known as a missile man for his work on missiles and space rockets. He is also the recipient of the highest civilian award of India, Bharat Ratna. He had received honorary doctorates from about 30 universities globally. He was elected as the 11th President of India and held office from 2002 to 2007. Kalam has written several inspirational books. Wings of Fire, which is his autobiography, and Ignited Minds are probably the best known. India 2020 sets out his action plan to make India a superpower in knowledge and communication technology. He also writes Tamil poetry and plays the veena. So, this is the first paragraph. This is an introduction, and I will brief it out for you. He was born in a poor family in Rameswaram, Tamil Nadu. He studied physics and then aerospace engineering. He is known as Missile Man for his work on missiles and rockets. Bharat Ratna APJ Abdul Kalam was elected the 11th President of India. He has written several inspirational books. Wings of Fire is his biography, and Ignited Minds is also a very well-known book written by him. Now we are on the first page. This is the opening paragraph which I am going to read for you. The essay starts here. When the India Today conclave posed the question, India tomorrow, global giant or pygmy, I recalled an event that occurred while meeting students in Nagaland during my recent visit there. A class 5th students asked me, I would like to live in a happy, prosperous, peaceful and safe India. Tell me, what will you do, Mr. President? Also tell me what I should do for that. During my interactions with school children of 17 states and 3 union territories which I have visited, a series of similar questions were raised. This is the first paragraph, and here we see that the author is recalling an incident. Writing about the future of India, Abdul Kalam recalls an incident where a small student asked him what he will do to make India a peaceful and happy place to live in. The student also asked what he himself should do to contribute the formation of his dreams. Sometimes I feel a nation of billion people think like a nation of million people. So this is the next page. Why it's so? Why is it so? I consider no other nation has got a civilizational heritage like India to live a near peaceful life. Indian minds were capable of absorbing the best of cultures from successive invasions. Now we should not allow any religion or any individual fanaticism to endanger our nation, because the nation is more important compared to any individual or party or religion. Abdul Kalam says that India has been capable of extracting the best even from the successive invasions because it has got a civilizational heritage. For us, the nation should be of paramount importance than anything else. The next paragraph, the second paragraph of the second page. Even the rich and developed nations, in spite of their wealth and military strength, are afraid of virtual enemies, and they live with the fear complex. Economic prosperity and military strength alone do not bring peace to any nation, as we see from the dynamics of the world. In such a situation, it is also very important to transform our religious forces into spiritual forces. Evolution of spiritual forces, in addition to economic prosperity and military strength, will bring happiness, peace, and prosperity. Abdul Kalam says that we need inspirational things, spiritual strength for our progress and prosperity and happiness. The third paragraph of the second page. We got freedom in 1947 as a result of what I call the first vision for the nation. This vision created the best of leaders in many fields like politics, philosophy, judiciary, science and technology, and industry. Improvements took place in many aspects of life, in literacy, agricultural production, strategic areas, certain small and large scale industries. Now, more than 50 years have gone by, and we are called one among the hundreds of developing countries, and in a distinct way, separate from G8 countries. We have many challenges. Nearly 260 million people who are below the poverty line have to join the mainstream of good life. 100% literacy, health for all, multiple industrial and agricultural productivity, and a lifestyle with a good value system have to emerge. Hence, we need the second vision for the nation to become developed. In this paragraph, APJ Abdul Kalam is presenting before us the scene of 50 years after the independence. Many improvements are to be seen in this period. We are among developing nations now. The population below the poverty line has to be taken care of. Issues like 100% literacy, health for everybody are to be resolved. These are the last few lines of the second page. After independence, India looked forward to development through 5 years plans. The Green Revolution and technological growth enabled India to prosper with self sufficiency in food and achievements in many technological frontiers, particularly in the past 2 decades. A major transformation came during the Information Age when India established its position with its strong core competence in information technology. Today, India is in the next page knowledge age, which provides an opportunity to become a developed nation with a strong economy. So, this is the development scene of India after the independence. The 5 years plans, along with the Green Revolution and technological progress, helped out in food self sufficiency. I am presenting this summary of this paragraph in simple words to you. One major change has taken place in the form of information technology. India has entered the knowledge age and has got an opportunity to become a developed nation. This is the first paragraph of the third page. In the 21st century, a new society is emerging where knowledge is the primary production resource instead of capital and labor. People's lives will be enriched by IT driven knowledge products and systems, biotechnology, and space technology. As a future revolution, it is predicted that humanity will see human habitat in one of the planets and space solar power radiating to Earth for electric power. Human life will be further extended for research outcomes. Nanotechnology will enter into human usage like the control systems of various transportation systems, medical technology, equipment, and aerospace systems. In this paragraph, we see that this is the scene of 21st century and its future prospects. There are possibilities of human life to be launched on other planets. There will be progress in human life with the help of research areas. Nanotechnology will enter various fields like transportation, medical technology, etc. Second paragraph of the third page. In most developed nations, the information and communications technology (ICT) sector directly contributes 7 to 8% of their GDP. It is expected that by 2010, in these countries, ICT will account for 25% of the GDP, either directly by way of sale of hardware and software or indirectly by being an integral part of e-governance, connectivity for improved productivity, industries, and even in daily life for improved efficiency and transparency. In India, ICT today accounts for nearly 2% of GDP. To be a developed nation, we should enhance this significantly. So, in this second paragraph of the third page, the author APJ Abdul Kalam says that in future, information and communication technology will influence positively. GDP will rise with the sale of hardware and software are core competencies that can be exploited in addition to what has been planned in 1998 include information security, scientific software development, and e-governance that can spearhead a strong domestic market, entertainment, education, hardware, and chip design and wireless. If we exploit these areas of our core competency, we can create Indian MNCs and aim at a target of $150 billion by 2010. Now I am presenting a simplified briefing of this paragraph to you. Our skills can be used further after 1998 in security, scientific software development, etc. This can lead in the field of entertainment, hardware, etc. If our capabilities of these areas are used, we can create Indian multinational companies and can have a goal of $150 billion by 2010. This is the last paragraph of the third page. Another core competence we should develop is in biotechnology. India is rich in herbs, germplasm, and microorganisms. Industrially developed countries are importing these bioresources in raw forms, adding value to them and exporting them as special seeds and biomaterials to developing countries including India. They also own fully protected patents of these products as at high cost. India must add its own technology for conversion of such resources to value added products for use in domestic requirement as well as for export of the global herbal product market of $61. China has a share of around $3 billion, whereas India's share is not even $100 million. Hence, there is tremendous opportunity for a higher market share. India has similar potential for promoting floriculture and aquaculture in a big way. The author is laying stress on the importance of the germplasm. Now I am explaining this to you. The author is laying stress on the importance of the germplasm and microorganisms. The demand of such acids are great in developed nations. Such products can also be useful for our country also. The author also compares China to India in this perspective. He also shows importance of floriculture and aquaculture here. A Vision for 2020 essay part 1 ends here. We will meet for the next part in the upcoming video. Thank you for watching the video.